Good morning, South Africa, and a warm welcome to our international community. Ungasali Annual International Storytelling Festival for 2022 has finally arrived, and I welcome you all to the launch of the festival. Our theme for this year is Surviving Through Challenging Times. The difference between this festival and the previous ones is that this one is online, but I promise you that it will be equally exciting. I'm also excited that the online platform gives us an opportunity to reach out to our wider audience. We are also excited that despite the challenges that were brought about by COVID-19 pandemic, we have learned and adapted to the fourth industrial revolution. This is our very first festival to be held online. Yes, we missed the excitement last year and we made a commitment never to miss it again, come what may. My role is just to take you through what is in store for us during this festival. We have 23 exciting storytellers lining up to blow your mind with stories of culture, of history, personal stories, myth, and some folk tales here and there. And as they say, until the lion learns how to ride, every story will glorify the hunter. So, for us, this is an opportunity to tell our own stories in our own words and from our own perspectives. Featured in this year's festival, we have a lineup of very exciting veteran storytellers from South Africa, the likes of Dr. Gcina Mhlophe and Buntu Tembane. But also our international lineup is equally exciting. We have the likes of Zoe the storyteller from Uganda, Amina Mix from Jamaica, Yusufu Jallo from Sierra Leone, Siema Wamkaraji from India, Riatlile Muhapelwa from Lesotho, and Wangari Grace from Kenya, just but to mention a few. Freedom Park continues to promote the emancipation of the African voice by propagating the art of storytelling, which was much revered in Africa for generations. And we also walk in our great patron Utata Madiba's footsteps when he said, "I wish the voice of a storyteller does not die." On the other hand, Chinua Achebe says, "It is the storyteller, in fact, who makes us what we are, who creates history." He further states that the storyteller creates the memory that survivors must have. Otherwise, surviving would have no meaning. And also, he emphasizes that this is very important as memory is necessary if surviving is going to be more than just a technical thing. As such, in order for Freedom Park to continue nurturing and preserving this cultural oral tradition, we still and we will be this year also showcasing our rising stars, the new storytellers, the new entrants in the market who have shown tremendous potential to make it in this industry. And during this week, Ungasali, do not be left out or don't be left behind. Make yourselves available and ensure that you visit our website www.freedompark.co.za every day, as I've said, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this is from the 22nd of March to the 26th of March. And also, please visit our social media, visit our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter page. And from there, sit, relax, and enjoy this great, exciting event. I also want to take this opportunity to appreciate our internal storytelling unit at Freedom Park for putting together such a wonderful program. And I hope to see you next year again. And please, Ungasali, join us and enjoy again. As I said, I declare the Storytelling Festival open. I thank you.
Whoa, 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 wonderful news. So you heard it, folks. From the CEO of Freedom Park, Miss Jane Mafamadi, bringing us Ungasali Annual International Storytelling Festival 2022. Please stay tuned and buckle your belts as we are taking you through the journey. And today we're bringing to you Nontlantla Hadebe, Rebecca Leymari, all the way from Spain, Baba the storyteller, and Wangari Grace. Enjoy yourselves and make sure Ungasali.
Way sukela. A long time ago. Long time ago that it is not important for me and you to remember. The induna yezilwane ezinezimpondo, Chief Buffalo, called all the animals with horns. Zonke izilwane ezinezimpondo are invited tonight. There's going to be a great feast. Kuzobe kuneziphuzo, umculo. But only animals with horns are invited to a party. And the animals with horns, they were very excited. Well, we can't wait to be in that party. We are going to the party. What about the animals without horns? They are not invited to a party. And one of those animals, it was hyena and zebra. They were very angry. They said, oh well, Chief Buffalo did not invite us to the party, but we are going to that party. We are going to be there in that party, noma kanjani. And hyena and zebra came up with a plan. They went to the forest to find horns of the animals that have died a long time ago. And after that, they went to Queen of Bees to paste their horns. And luckily, their horns were intact and very well. They looked nice, and they even came up with new names. Hyena said, "Ooh, look at me now. Look at me. I looked beautiful. And my new name now is Pinky. And Zebra said, oh, look at me. And my new name now is Ombongo. And after that, they did not waste time. They went to the party. Oh, when they got to the party, they found that everybody was just sitting and eating. No one was dancing. And when they got there in the party, and Chief Buffalo welcomed them and said, "Home, look at them. Hey, who are you? You are new animals. You look different." And when hyena and zebra got to the party, they did not waste time. They started singing. We were so happy to celebrate, so happy for our horns. We are so happy to celebrate, so happy for our horns. While they were busy dancing, hey, the horns fell off. Babe, Chief Buffalo, I told you that there's something wrong with you animals. What is happening here? Hyena and zebra, what are you doing here? Oh, Chief Buffalo, please forgive us. We wanted to be in the party. We were very upset that you did not invite us to a party just because we don't have horns. Please forgive us. And Chief Buffalo said, oh well, because I have a good heart. I forgive you. Let's continue. Because we are all the same. Horns or no horns, we are all the same. Let's continue to party. We are so happy to celebrate.
The story today comes from a rugged land where the sun is harsh, where the water and rain are scarce, where the wind blows the sand and dust into storms, where it can be freezing cold at night and scorching hot during the day. The Thar Desert of Rajasthan in northwest India. In that land, more than 500 years ago, there lived a man named Jambeshwar. Jambeshwar left his family home, left his inheritance to go and wander the desert. He walked through the rocky hills, he walked through the arid plains where only a few trees and shrubs grew. He walked through the villages and observed the way people lived. He walked and sat amongst the shifting sand dunes. And there, sitting, he reflected, he pondered, he observed some more, he meditated, and he started having deep insights and realizations. Jambeshwar understood things that many of us have not quite yet understood, or maybe we have intellectually but not deep in our hearts the way he did. He saw that God, spirit, consciousness pervaded absolutely everything. A human, a rock, a tree, they were all made of the same thing, the same one. And what this meant is that everything was interrelated. A man, a shrub, a gazelle, a child, a grain of sand, all interrelated. So he went and sat on a dune near a little village and he started sharing his ideas. He told people about the sacredness of all things and nature, and especially the kijeri tree, which gifted medicine through its bark, that gifted food with its fruit, that gave shade to humans and yet let some light shimmer through its leaves to allow for crops to grow. He asked them, why wouldn't animals have equal rights to Earth's resources? And people listened, and people had enough insight to realize he was wise. They called him Guru Jambeshwar or Jamboji. They started discussing on ways on how to protect the environment. They started planting sacred groves of the kijeri tree. Guru Jambeshwar laid down 29 precepts for humans to follow in order to live in harmony and peace with their environment. And the Bishnois, as his followers, came to be called, meaning 29. They learned to love and care for nature deeply, properly, sharing their crops with the animals, avoiding the cutting of green trees. And the Bishnoi community grew, and they lived in peace, and they prospered, just as Guru Jambeshwar had said they would. Taranahare talashire ayo, joy koitire to tirio jivane. The one who brings salvations has come down to us, so let's swim, swim and flow in him for life. 4 generations later, the Bishnoi communities had continued to grow. They still lived to the rhythm of the earth. They continued to prosper, but didn't take it for granted. One day, a local Maharaj, a king, decided that his palace was too small and he wanted to expand it. For that, he needed wood. So he sent his woodcutters to the Bishnoi areas, the only places where trees grew in the desert. That day, a lady named Amrita Devi was in the forest with her 3 daughters. When she heard the woodcutters arriving, when she realized what they were about to do, she ran and she told them that they couldn't cut these trees. She told them about their sacredness. She told them how they protected the villages from sandstorms. She told them, but they wanted to hear nothing. Move aside, little lady, we need to do our jobs. And as the first woodcutter approached that first tree and was about to fell the tree, Amrita Devi pushed past him. She wrapped her arms around that tree. She looked at the woodcutter and she said, no, no. No, a chopped human head is cheaper than a chopped tree. But the woodcutter, unmoved, hacked through her body to get to that tree. And her 3 daughters, these 3 young women, seeing what had just happened to their mother, they didn't run away as you would expect them to. They ran to 3 more trees, wrapped their arms around those trees, and died as the woodcutters hacked through their bodies to get to the trees. A villager who was passing by saw what had just happened to the 4 women. He ran to the nearest village. He wasn't running away either. He was calling for help. The news spread like wildfire through the Bishnoi villagers, and soon there were hundreds of Bishnois hurrying to the forest. Men, women, young, old, they all wrapped their arms around the trees. And that day, 363 Bishnois followed Amrita Devi's destiny. 363 Bishnois were killed that day with their arms wrapped around the trees they were trying to protect. And that evening, when the king found out what had been done in his name, the bloodbath, he was deeply ashamed. He laid down new laws that declared that no one was allowed to cut a tree or kill an animal in Bishnoi areas. And to this day, these laws still exist in India, and the Bishnois are allowed to protect their environment as they see fit. And so, still today, in Bishnoi areas, trees and crops grow in a fertile land despite the harsh conditions of the desert. Wild animals that have disappeared elsewhere still continue to live in their natural habitats. And the Bishnoi communities continue to grow, and they still prosper, just as Guru Jambeshwar had said they would. Taranahare tala shire ayo, joy koitire to tirio jivane. In Amrita Devi's village, there's a shrine to her and her daughters and the 363 Bishnois who died that day. Around that shrine there's a patch of soil where nothing ever grows. The Bishnois, they believe that Mother Earth is holding on to the blood of the martyrs who died protecting her that day, for us all to remember their sacrifice. The Bishnois of Rajasthan, the original tree huggers, true eco-peaceful warriors who died, sacrificing their lives for Mother Earth. Their story makes me wonder, what am I prepared to give up or sacrifice for Mother Earth?
Jalia nyanya kale divi jalia te korobo gajeli ke ninge jali ke babi orana ye yo kala ambia sinana kumbemba jali mosanin jale kelu ambia sinana Bula bula julula, ibula bula kora jaluma. Ambia sinana, kumbemba jali moza ninja lekelu. Ambia sinana. Greetings, my family in South Africa. I am Baba the Storyteller, and I am so honored to be a proud of this year's Ungasali International Storytelling Festival. I'm hoping that one day, when we don't have to be virtual, our paths will cross physically and, well, we can share in storytelling and, well, to be honest with you, some of that really good food that I know you've got. The language that you hear me singing in is called Bamananko. It's a Mande language out of West Africa, Mali, Guinea, Gambia, language of my ancestors. The instrument, I know you're curious about the instrument, is called a kora. It's a 21-string harp of the ancient oral historians dating back hundreds, if not thousands of years. I've made an offering of a story for you, and I really hope you all enjoy it. So sit back, listen quietly, and afterwards, maybe I'll share a little something with you other than the story. There was a king with his advisors standing on the roof of the palace. This was the king of a modest village, and they were eating a sweet treat that they were dipping into a clay pot of honey. The king dipped into the clay pot of honey, and he got so much honey on the end of his sweet treat that before it could reach his mouth, well, the honey, it fell off the end of his treat and onto the ledge of the roof. Immediately, the advisor said, "Your Highness, allow me to clean the honey up that has fallen." And the king said, No. You are too important a person to do such a thing. We have servants to clean up. No, let us continue enjoying our sweet treat and laughing and talking as we've been doing. We will have someone clean that up later. So they went back to enjoying their sweet treat, laughing and talking. But it was a very hot day. And on this hot day, the sun began to melt the honey that had fallen. The honey dripped off the side of the roof and it fell down to the ground. And when it did, flies swarmed all over it. The advisor looked over the ledge of the roof and said, "Your Highness, there are flies swarming all over the honey that has fallen. Surely now we must send someone to clean it." The king laughed. He said, No, I'm having too much fun, enjoying my sweet treat and my time with you. Someone will clean that up later, but let us not be concerned about it now. Well, there had been a mouse inside of a hole. And when the mouse saw that there were a lot of the flies stuck in the honey, the mouse decided to go after them. But when the mouse went after the flies stuck in the honey, there was a cat that saw the mouse. So the cat began to chase the mouse. But there was a dog watching this whole thing play out. And the dog, when he saw the cat chasing the mouse, the dog gave chase. So now you have the dog barking loud, the cat squealing, trying to get away, and the poor mouse running for its life. The advisor looked over the ledge of the roof and said, "Your Highness, there is so much noise down there. Surely we must put an end to this." The king said, "Oh, no, it is not so bad up here. The dog's owner will come and retrieve it. The cat's owner will come for it, and soon the noise will be gone, and we won't have to worry about any of that." Well, the cat's owner did come to retrieve it, but the dog would not give up chase. So now the cat's owner has his cat and he's holding it and the dog is barking at him, so he's kicking at the dog. When the dog's owner shows up, he sees this man kicking at his dog and becomes angry. And he runs at him and says, "Don't kick my dog," and he pushes the cat owner. The cat owner says, "Why did you push me?" And he pushes the dog owner. So now these two men are fighting. They're going at it. And the king hears this, and when the king looks over the ledge, the king says, "I will not tolerate fighting on such a glorious day." And the king demands 2 guards go down there and break up the fight. Yeah, Jalia, Alaleka Jaliada, Alamunga Mansiada, Alenata Banyada. Yeah, Jalia, Alaleka Jaliada. But by the time the two guards get out there, oh my goodness, by the time the two guards get out there, it's not just the two men fighting anymore. No. Now, the friends and family members of the cat owner are all fighting the friends and family members of the dog owner. When the two guards get out there, they see that they're outnumbered. There are too many people fighting, so they rush back into the palace in order to get more soldiers to break up this huge fight. But by the time they get out there, well, with the soldiers, the entire village is on fire. Yes, the entire village. And that village, it was never able to recover. In fact, there was a proverb among the people who had lived around this village. And the proverb, now that you've heard the story, I'm sure you'll understand the proverb. The proverb says, a single drop of honey can destroy an entire village. Yeah, Jalia, alaleka Jaliada, Adamunga Mansiada, Alanata Banayada. Yeah, Jalia, alaleka Jaliada. My friends and family of Ungasali International Storytelling Festival, I seriously hope you enjoyed my little offering here. I hope to have an opportunity to cross paths with you and share stories and music again in the future. But until then, as I always say, doni doni, kununi benyagada, or little by little, the small bird manages to build its nest.
Oh there. Hello there. I am so glad to see you. Please come along. Come with me to Kenya, and I will take you to see the magnificent mountain, Mount Kenya. I will also show you the community that lives around this mountain. Yes, the Kikuyu community. Now, this community is the only Kenyan community that has exclusively female clan names. And they hold Mount Kenya as a sacred place. Well, how did this happen, you ask? Sit there and I will tell you a story. So they say that in the beginning of time, the mountain stood tall, proud, and alone among the surrounding plains. And on the mountain lived the first mother. Her name was Mombi, meaning the creator. She was not alone. She was with her companion, Yekoyo. And God, Guy, took them to the very top of the mountain and showed them the vast land below. It was beautiful to look at. Yes, rivers full of cool, clear waters flowed in all different directions. There were forests full of different kinds of wild animals, birds and insects. And they also saw a lot of cows and goats and sheep and donkeys. And all this, Guy told Yekoyo and Mombi was theirs. Yekoyo and Mombi were so happy, and they thanked Guy Wakirenyaga. And they walked down the mountain to build a place for themselves to live. And they chose to build a home at a place called Mokorwe wa Nyagadanga. And with time, Yekoyo and Mombi were blessed with not one, not two, but nine beautiful daughters. Hey! Welcome, wagekuyona mobie welcome. Welcome, wagekuyona mobie welcome. Oyone wajikoe welcome. Oyone wajiro welcome. Oyone waboye welcome. Hey, welcome. Wagekuyona mobie welcome. Oyone wagoye welcome. Oyone waidera welcome. Oyone nyabura welcome. Welcome. Wagekuyona mobie welcome. Oyone wairi moe welcome. Oyone washera welcome. Oyone wagare welcome. Ah, yes. Wanjiro, Wanjiko, Wamboi, Wangoi, Waidera, Nyambura, Washera, Waidera, and Wangari, the 9 daughters of Gikoyo and Mombi. Now, these 9 girls grew up to become not just beautiful of face and manners, but each one of them had completely different characteristics. For example, Wanjiko was very hospitable. She was always willing to share, even if she was left with nothing. Oh, as for Wamboi was brave, and it is said that in later years, she would come to lead the other warriors to battle. And anytime the enemy saw her approaching, riding on the back of Waboi Moredo, the zebra, who they would just scatter in fear. And as for Wangari was brave as the leopard, after whom she is named. And it is said that one evening, as the family was sitting around the fire, a leopard tried to steal one of her father's goats. And as everyone else was afraid and trembling, she was not. She took a burning ember from the fire and chased the animal away. Yes, they were all very, very different. And every evening, the family would sit around the fire and they would exchange stories about the day. And Gikoyo and Mombi felt that they were indeed very, very blessed. But after a while, Mombi realized that something was changing. Yes, the girls still did their work around the house and in the fields. They still smiled, but the smiles did not reach their eyes. They still walked around the house, but the spring in their step, the bounce was no longer there. Mombi realized that her girls had grown. You see, there comes a time when the love of a mother, a father, or a sister is not enough. The girls were ready for marriage. But where would they get husbands from? Mombi knew that the answer could only be found with Ngai. And that night, in the secret of their heart, she shared this feeling with Gikoyo. And very early the next morning, the two of them woke up very early and they took a fat he-goat, Adenge, and they walked up the mountain to the last place where they had seen Ngai. And they sacrificed the goat and they called out to him in prayer. And they called out to him in prayer. Thy, Ngai, thy, newe mwene hinya wode thy. Thy, Ngai, thy, newe mwene hinya wode thy. And from high up the mountain, Ngai looked at the two with a big smile on his face. And he took thunder and lightning and soil and water and made a mixture and used the mixture to mold 9 handsome young men. And
breathed life into them and handed them to Gikuyu and Mombi. Gikuyu and Mombi were so happy. They took the 9 young men, thanked Guy, and took the men to their daughters. And for the very first time in living memory, there was a mass wedding as the 9 handsome young men were married to the 9 beautiful daughters, each according to their heights. Now, these 9 daughters would become the founders of the 9 clans of the Kikuyu community. But some say that there was not 9, but 10 daughters. They say that the youngest, Wamoyo, also called Warigia, meaning the last one, was too young to get married. And some also say that, you see, traditionally among the Kikuyu people, you could not count your wealth, whether it is animals, whether it is children, to the last number, for fear that something bad might happen to them. And so it is that the youngest, Warigia Wamoyo, also has a clan named after her, making them not 9, not 10, but Keda Moyoru, 9 to the 4. Now, these 9 beautiful girls and their husbands had children, many children. And as the families increased in number, they moved away from the base of the mountain, and they went to live and can be found today in different parts of my country, Kenya. And indeed, they have moved on to live in different parts of the world. But all of them, wherever they are, they can trace their roots back to the mountain of Kirinyaga. Go show, and go show, ayo, go show, and go show, ayo, go come on and you may dira mama, mosho yo dira mama, it's na ye go you mena mombi, ayo, hae, hae,